So residents of Devonshire, thank you for joining me for my first taping. Jim has done the tapings in the past and he always does a great job, so I have big shoes to fill, but I'm going to call my segment today Breakfast with Brad, and I've got Marty here doing the taping, and so I look forward to this segment and future segments as we talk about administrative updates, and I even have a special guest with me today, and we'll learn more about that. But I wanted to start today just for those that don't know me. I'm Brad Andrus. I'm the Associate Executive Director here at Devonshire, and I've been here a year now. And so a year ago in August, I arrived here 2 weeks before a Category 4, I guess it was Dorian, was over the Bahamas, and so that was my introduction to Florida. I have twin daughters, Macy and Madison, who have been here on campus and met some residents, but they're getting settled in Florida, had a great school year. My wife is working down in Boca, so has a little bit of a drive from Jupiter. But we're doing well, and I just really love Florida life and love being here and working with staff and residents at Devonshire. So if I haven't had a chance to get to know you yet, I hope that when we get out of the new normal back to normal, I'll have a chance to see you in the lounge and in the veranda and walking the halls. So. But I'll get right to it. I wanted to just touch on the COVID activity that's happening in the area, and when I look at the latest numbers, Florida, close to 500,000 cases at 497,000 cases, in Palm Beach County, 34,500 cases. So about 7% of what's COVID cases that are, happening in the state of Florida. We have seen, a bit of a, decline in the number of cases. Every day we were, experiencing, in some days 15,000, new cases. And so, now, that's subsided a little bit, but, really we're still seeing consistent, people testing positive, over 10% of those tested are tested positive. So we still are in phase 1, here at Devonshire and Chatsworth. We look to move to phase 2, which would open up, some other areas of the campus, some other services and amenities. But right now we're just, holding steady and through an abundance of caution, making sure that, everyone's protected here on campus, including staff, residents, and some of the visitors, that we have. So one of the things that we look forward to in phase 2 is, rolling out a healthy habits, campaign. This includes some signage, some new signage, needing, to communicate out that we need to consistently be wearing masks. You'll see later on in my segment, I am wearing a mask. But I think it's so important that that's really one of the best ways that we can, really prevent the spread, of this virus. And so making sure that we're keeping, social distancing, making sure that we limit, any congregation. I know we've opened up, some classes and, different things on the campus, which I think is appropriate, but it's by appointment only. It's using good social distancing, wearing, face coverings, and just avoiding, those big group congregation. We would also ask, we've got a number of people who, have either been in the hospital or been exposed to someone who may or may not have had, COVID. And so we've quarantined a certain number of residents that we do daily welfare checks on, every day. If you've been, quarantined, out of a precaution, and we put a sign on your door, just, please leave it there. It's really for your protection and the protection of any staff or visitor that might be coming into the apartment. And just, being mindful that I know that it's very difficult and, challenging, to be isolated in your apartment. But, if you're on quarantine, it's, for a good reason, and it's really to protect the community. It's amazing, that we've been able to, keep COVID-19 out of, our community. We don't currently have, any cases, here at Devonshire. And, we do have a case over at Chatsworth, but we have really been able to keep COVID-19 out of our communities, and that's through your partnership with you and really adhering to the CDC guidelines. And with that reduced socialization, I recognize that that's a really challenging thing for residents, really for all of us. And what I would say is if you or someone is really struggling with isolation, that you reach out to our security team, reach out to Marty Bors and the Resident Life team, just to gain insight to any resources that you might need. But I think it really is important to know that we're all in this together, and that you do have resources that you can call. I've also wanted to report that I've been working with the leadership team as well as the resident council to put together an annual report, which we haven't done in recent years. And so I wanted to make sure that we shared some exciting things about reviewing 2019, looking at some of the community highlights. And I know it's hard to think back pre-COVID to all the exciting things and the wonderful things that we do here at Devonshire and Chatsworth in our communities. But we did highlight some areas. I got some feedback from resident council members on that. Also to talk about all the accomplishments that residents and staff. We have some really talented residents, and we have some really committed staff. And so just recognizing some of those accomplishments in that report I thought was important. And then 2020, this year moving forward, I know we've, since the middle of March, up until now, it's been, out of our, really normal or the new norm. But there are some things that we have accomplished already, and we look to accomplish, this year. We also have an opportunity to meet the executive team and meet the resident council members with their bios in the annual report. So look forward to seeing that information. Once again, we've got some really talented, professional, experienced residents and staff. And then, of course, what would an annual report be without financial statements? And so, Angela has done a nice job putting together our financial statement for 2019, as well as the executive team putting together a community benefits report. And so just talking about, the great things that we do here in the community and, beyond our property. So we are, speaking of finances, getting ready to start the budget process, here in August. Matter of fact, this week we will have our first iteration of budgets, released that we'll start working on for both operational and capital planning for 2021. Which hard to believe that we're already in August, but we're working hard to look at what's going to happen for the remainder of the year and forecasting, as well as moving into 2021 and the budgeting that goes along with that. So we look forward to getting some input from the council, as well as sharing information regarding our plans moving forward. Talked about capital, so some noteworthy projects that are currently happening on campus. The Cavendish Kitchen project is currently happening. We moved all the equipment out of the kitchen. We've removed the existing tile flooring, and we're going to pour a new floor. It won't be tile, but a poured floor in the Cavendish Kitchen, which I think will allow for us to really keep it clean and not have to worry about all the things that go along with broken tile and water and those types of things. So we're excited about having a new kitchen. I know Joe and Fabrizio, our executive chef and dining director, are excited about having that new kitchen over in the Cavendish, all to serve you well. We also put a new AEON and HVAC unit on the court roof. That's been connected and should be up and running by the end of this week. I know we've connected it, and it's just a matter of running the system, and that will help cool and move air through common areas, including storage areas, which we've had some questions about. Also, Jim Davis, who's our owner of Redwood Capital. He has a wellness fund and funded a project here in the fitness center. And so we're excited about that. If you haven't had a chance to, be over in the fitness center, we've kind of blocked that back area off, opened it up for, classes and various wellness programming that I think will be well received by residents, but just really making sure that we fully utilize that space. One of the things that I've been working on, and it seems like too long, is the elevator floors. And I know I've gotten, feedback about, the condition of, the elevator floors. We have, determined a product. I've shown that to sales and marketing. And I think we're good to go with, the product. We'll outfit a couple of the elevators with new flooring, get some resident input, and then we'll, hopefully be able to get all the, elevators, done, if not this year, going into next year. But I know that's an important project and, something that, really, shows our community well, and we need to make sure that that gets done. We also have some remaining window replacements in apartments, and so we're working with a new vendor to do that work. And so if you've seen some storage containers out on the southwest side of the community, those are the windows that are going into the apartments. And so we'll get that project up and running as soon as we possibly can, now that we have the windows here on campus. PS Salon, we have also, worked with an architect to, put together, kind of a new format and design for PS Salon. So we're excited about that. Now we're working with PS Salon themselves about, the equipment and the furniture and how we're going to, set up that space. So more to come there, but I'm looking forward, and I know you are too, to a beautiful new salon. So we're working on that actively. Also, in preparation for, outdoor dining, when we, move into phase 2 and have some additional dining, venues and dining opportunities, we wanted to make sure we had some outdoor seating. And so I know Jim talked about in his last video about ordering some umbrellas and having some, some really great outdoor dining. So I'm looking forward to that. And then tree trimming will continue, on the campus. We did a fair amount already, and thank goodness before we, just recently had the storms, we had done some tree trimming, and so that really allowed for less cleanup after this, last mini storm, I'll call it. So that tree trimming will continue next week, so that we get everything, appropriately cleaned up on the campus. A big thank you, a genuine thank you to the resident committee for the Employee Appreciation Fund and the residents who contributed to the Employee Appreciation Fund. I hope you had a chance to see, some of the testimonials from staff who, really genuinely appreciate, those gifts and appreciate the fact that, residents, really value, the staff, that work here. I think, the residents contributing to that fund, it really, shows the mission, of this organization. And so once again, I just really want to genuinely say thank you for, your gifts and and just really thinking about the staff, during this time. One of the things, that I've gotten some feedback on, recently is noise levels, in the campus, whether, it's a TV on too loud or a barking dog or someone walking in the halls. But I know, we always, are mindful of, our noise levels and making sure that we're respectful, of our neighbors. And so, that's always a good reminder as well. And then, I'll end today just, by saying, thank you all for your partnership and making sure that we're doing everything we can through social distancing, wearing masks, not congregating, staying at home. That's so important for us to get through this. And so thank you all for your commitment, to that. And then we will end today's segment of Breakfast with Brad, the very first segment. And I hope to have future, videos and more visitors, that come on with me. But I just wanted to, bring on our sales and marketing, director, Kathy McCrossan, who has done a wonderful job, working here at Devonshire in the last 3 years that she's been here. We're very fortunate to have her, and I just wanted to make sure that residents had an update on, what's happening in sales, and so we're going to move into that segment next. So Kathy, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, we've gotten a number of questions about the sales and marketing program and how that process is going, and so I thought it would be good, for you and I to have an opportunity to sit and talk and be able to share information with residents. But before we get into that, how long have you been here now?
Actually, it's funny, on July 31st, so Saturday, I celebrated my 3rd anniversary here at Devonshire.
Wow. Congratulations.
Prior to that, I had been with Erickson for just about 12 years.
Wow.
So I'm closing in on 15 years with the company.
Yeah, that's
so
great. And how was your transition, down here?
It was different. I arrived in July, and in September, early September, we had our first hurricane with the community, so it was kind of a sink or swim, and experienced my first hurricane, but that was pretty uneventful. I got to know residents and living here at the community over that weekend. But the transition is different. We're a different community, but I love the residents. I love being here. I love that it's warm all year long, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, we're very fortunate to have, you leading the team, down here, and have, seen great success, with you leading the sales and marketing, program. So, yeah, and, we all work well together, and it's a good partnership. So
It is.
very
It really
good.
is.
Well, I had a similar experience, coming down, and then a couple weeks later, last year having a Category 5 hurricane, coming our way. So I can appreciate what you went through. Yeah. All right. Very good. Well, I just, really more than anything, we've started to take some appointments.
Yes.
And so I just wanted to find out, how that process is going, what precautions, we're taking, and just being able to share that with residents.
Very good. It's been exciting for us to be able to kind of turn things back on a little bit. Certainly we're being cautious. Every day, as you do and I do, come into the community and have our temperature checked and get asked a series of questions, about our health. We want to make sure that all the employees here are safe. We want to make sure all of our visitors are safe as well. And so we go through those same questions with them before they come to the campus. They're asked again coming through the gatehouse, and then they are temperature checked. We bring them into the model here, right where we are today,
Yep.
which is a little bit isolated from the community. So if they need to use restrooms or things like that, we can do it right here in a more controlled environment. And we try to limit the exposure they're having around campus. So when we take them to see apartments, we're finding the path of least resistance to get them to that apartment.
Route, yeah.
And, still showing the campus. And it's going well. I think that we were a little nervous with, a little bit of reduced activity going on here, that it wouldn't show as well. But, as time has gone on and people are coming out more, it does show well. And I think people are really surprised to see, how the community presents.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with, whether it's residents playing croquet or whether it's residents, walking the campus safely, sitting in the courtyard, or taking a swim or exercising in the fitness center by appointment only. It has, we do have some activity, going on. It's not what our, normal is, but a new normal. So,
It is.
Yeah.
I agree. But you know what? I look to that new normal is for everybody, whether you live here or not. You're living in your home, there's a new normal as well. I know for
Yeah.
me personally, you know, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to grocery stores. I have not had any visitors to my home for
Right.
this whole thing. So, you know, I think for everybody it's a new normal.
Yeah.
But it is fun to see. I know this week activity outside really picked up, and we had somebody here yesterday that was very impressed with what was going on here.
Yeah, I understand we just got an apartment reservation,
We did.
so that's exciting.
We did, you know, ring that bell that we have our first reservation under belt, and somebody excited to move in.
All right, very good.
So.
Well, I know we've had, you know, some move outs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, you know, when I'm out and about and I do run into residents, they say to me, you know, I hear they're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And you know what, when I go back and look, I started here 3 years ago in the low 80% occupancy. As we sit here today, we're at 91.6%. So, you know, we aren't, you know, really looking
You've
like
done
what
an
people
amazing
think.
job. Yeah.
So, you know, to be able to keep it in the 90%, you know, we're very proud of that. But I also work off of a budget, an annual budget, and through August, we actually were budgeted to have 25 releases under normal circumstances. And actually, year to date, we're exactly there. We're at 25 releases. So
Okay.
I don't think we're seeing any more releases than we normally would have.
Okay, great.
Certainly, we're not seeing the reservations, but again, you know, we weren't allowing visitors for a long time here, so it's natural that we wouldn't have seen reservations. But from a release standpoint, you know, we've experienced a few move-outs, your typical, you know, unfortunate people pass away, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay, no,
for
that's good to know. I think that's a good message to share with residents who have, you know, those questions. So, and then, so you talked a little bit about, you know, occupancy, and so what do you expect, you know, from, you know, really an occupancy standpoint for the remainder of 2020?
I think it's likely it's going to dip a little bit below 90 just because of the nature of us trying to play catch up. But the phones are ringing. You know, we did have advertising turned off for a little bit to really slow, which did slow things down, but we're turning things back on. So the phones are ringing. People are interested in coming in. I would say the word cautious is what we hear. Nobody says I don't want to move to Devonshire. Nobody says I don't want to move to a retirement community. What we hear is I want to do it. I just want to make sure things are really a little more stabilized. So I think it'll be a slow creep back, but I would suspect by, you know, third quarter, maybe fourth quarter, we're really going to see things, you know, start to improve. We also have here a little different where it's seasonal.
Yeah.
So, you know, typically July, August, always
A little
slow
slow
here
anyway,
anyway. So, you know, it's kind of given us a good time to get our feet back on the ground, but it is going to be a slow creep back for both reasons, that, you know, the COVID and just because of that time of year.
Yeah. So you've moved the office around a little bit.
We have.
So for those that haven't had a chance to be in the sales and marketing office, what changes have you made there, including staffing?
Yep. So during the prime, you know, time of COVID, we became the concierge office. So we kind of dismantled things. We had lots of supplies and we were taking daily orders. It was fun for us to really connect with the residents and be able to talk to them. But now it's back to business. So as most know, Mike left us just about the time that COVID had started.
Yeah.
He had a new baby, was ready to move on to a new career.
Exciting
we had
times for
it
him,
was.
yeah.
So we had an empty position. We held off on hiring until now. So last Wednesday, Jacqueline Phelps joined the team. She energetic, fun. Some really good solid sales experience, not in the industry, but really even in the few days that we've had to work with her, she's up and running. She's really out and about wanting to learn about the apartments and our residents. It'll take some time.
Yeah,
but
those skills are transferable. Yeah,
she's just a real pleasure to have so far, and we're excited to have her. So we did physically move offices. At one point, we didn't have enough office space. We had a conference room, but we had to share an office. And with the current health situation, it's just not good. It's not a good environment to be sharing. So we turned the conference room into an office. That's now where I am. And everybody's a little more spread out. And then, as I mentioned before, we're doing appointments here. So we're trying to keep the staff healthy and doing things in the new normal.
Very good. So I guess I'll finish with saying, what kinds of things can residents and other staff do to support, you, the sales team, and the sales process?
I think, the support, moral support for one thing. We love hearing, when people are happy and things are good. We love that they share. We have a very high percentage of resident referral. It's really where we get the primary source of business. So, I just hope people continue to talk positively about who we are and all the good things that have happened. I know for us, coming to work every day and making sure that everybody was safe and healthy was really important. There's an it factor to everybody that works here.
Sure.
Us included. So I hope that message gets out that, we're very sincere about, bringing this lifestyle to more people, and all the positive things that happened. We're on the phone all the time with our counterparts, whether it's La Posada, Waterford, Morse Life, all of those. We have some good relationships going, and throughout all of this, we've been able to share. And nobody's really doing anything different. You always hear the grass is greener.
Sure.
But in talking to the staff, it's the same thing. It's a few certain percentage that have a negative, but for the most part, everybody's happy, and we just want to share that. And we ask the residents to share it as well.
Well, very good. I have to say, I never thought I would be doing an interview wearing a surgical mask. So I know that's not what we normally like to do, because it's good to see your smiling face. I'm wearing a mask.
And I can tell you're smiling. I can see it in your eyes. But it is different.
It's become the new normal, which I just never would have thought would happen. But no, thank you so much for being here and all the good work that you do.
Thank you.
We're just very fortunate to have you and the sales team fully committed to our mission and having people enjoy this wonderful lifestyle. So.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yep.
And we get the support here as well.
Yeah.
It's always funny when I reach out and I say to the other staff, we all sell. It's our job to make this a place that people want to come, whether it's keeping it, in order or providing activities. And I think everybody's really trying hard to try and make it as normal as possible. So I appreciate all of that support.
Very good. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you in the halls.
Yeah.